On February 1st, 2012, my youngest son, Princeton, was born. After a few days of bringing him home from the hospital, my mom, Beverly, realized how he was a spitting image of my husband, Napoleon. So, of course, Napoleon was excited to hear about this because, for some reason, he's always wanted a twin. So what did he do? He held the baby real high, the same way Rafiki did Simba in The Lion King. This made my mom and I bust out laughing. It was so funny, which made our 1-year-old Caden laugh as well. Napoleon came and scooped the boys up, took them upstairs, and all my mom and I can do was continue to laugh and shake our heads. On November 4th, 2012, my husband passed away from a seizure that stopped his heart. On November 24th, 2012, my mom passed away from lung cancer. Can you imagine losing two of the most important people in your life only weeks apart? I was only 33. When I lost my husband, I felt so alone and confused. I didn't understand why this was happening now, and yes, why this was happening to me. As a young girl, I knew I would grow up, graduate from college, start my career, find a husband, have some kids, and just live my life, but not lose my husband, and not lose my husband so young. He was also 33. Now, the boys were so small when this happened. Caden was only 2. Princeton was only 10 months old. They didn't know why mommy was crying so much, but they did know that somebody was missing. Every time the door from the garage to the kitchen would open and Daddy would never walk through, they knew that something was wrong. Eventually, they stopped looking. This was the moment where I got stuck in thinking about how much of a horrible mother I was going to be trying to raise these boys without their father. And I could not get my emotions in check. After I funeralized my husband, my mother passed away in hospice. While I did know that she was sick for some time, I didn't know the details of her diagnosis because she made my dad promise to not tell me what was truly going on. Yes, I am that kid that worries about everything, but also she knew Napoleon had just passed away. So here I am thinking, how do I live without my mother? I mean, I've known her all my life, right? She was my first love, my best friend, my #1 supporter, the woman that I could share any and everything with, the woman that I could laugh and cry with. And boy, could she make you laugh. You know the laughs where your stomach is hurting and you end up in tears? She was good for that. I just wanted my mommy back. Yes, for my own selfish reasons, because that was my girl. But also, I needed her. I needed her to help me raise my boys, her grandchildren, the grandchildren that she begged me for so long. See, my mom had me when she was 25, so of course, when I turned 25, she asked me, where are my grandchildren? I guess she got tired of waiting, so by the time I got 30, with a little bit more emphasis this time, she asked me again, where are my grandchildren? Well, I knew I still had life to live. I'm still trying to get my career on track, so I'm not even thinking about that. But September 8th, 2010, Caden was born. I saw a different happiness in my mom, and he was her world. On February 1st, 2012, Princeton was born, and he was her joy. Unfortunately, she didn't have enough time with either of them. After I left my mom's funeral, I began to think about how I don't have my mom to help me deal with the emotions of losing my husband. And I don't have my husband to help me deal with the emotions of losing my mom. And I didn't have either to help me with the boys. But I did go to counseling, and in counseling I was told I had to find my new normal. Now, I didn't know what that meant or what that looked like, but on the quest for this new normal, I got stuck in thinking about how horrible my life was going to be. So mind you, stuck, horrible, favorite words back then. But I knew that life was not going to be the same. Everybody's life went on like normal. Mine did too, but it didn't look anything like normal. I never wanted to be seen as needy or broken or weak. And unfortunately, some people saw me just like that. I remember hearing people say, I don't want Michelle to ask me to help her do anything. I don't want to be around Michelle because she's going to cry too much. I mean, my goodness, I just lost my mother and my husband. I'm not exactly sure what people expected me to do, but cry. But then I was reminded of a saying that my mom used to tell me as a small girl, never let them see you sweat. So I hung on to this statement, probably not in the most positive way that it was intended, but I knew that I had to protect myself. I was having some serious trust issues with people back then, and some people were actually trying to take advantage of me. So I decided I'm going to have to fake my way through life. So that meant making things look like they were okay, hoping they would be okay, but still kind of knowing that it wasn't going to be okay. And in doing that, people said, Michelle's fine. She doesn't need me. So I didn't get a lot of the support that I truly did need to get through my grief. Then I said, I'm going to get myself into busy mode. So I'm thinking if I move from one moment to the next, I won't have time to think or feel about anything in regards to my losses. I was teaching full-time here at a college, started teaching some online courses, got more involved in my social organizations, and I joined some new ones. So I made sure to keep myself extremely busy. For the next 4 years, I lived my life stuck just like that, not truly enjoying the good, wallowing in the bad, and faking through the rest. So on June 30th, 2017, my life got worse. My youngest son, Princeton, while in the care of his paternal grandparents and a family friend, passed away from a drowning incident. He was not being properly watched at the pool. Now, I told these people that my child could not swim, and I would ask them to not take him to the pool. But sometimes grandparents do whatever they want to, right? He was only 5 years old. Can you imagine losing your baby? Can you imagine not being able to be there to help save your baby? I have the fond memories of carrying Princeton for 9 months, how he eased into this world. Like literally, the child was already out and I was still pushing. My doctor had to tell me to relax. And what an amazing kid that he was growing up to be. I just wanted my baby back. I want my baby back. While I knew I still had Caden that I had to raise, and not be only mindful of his physical well-being, but more so now, his emotional and mental well-being. This was hard to do with a 7-year-old. Seeing a child cry over the death of another child is heartbreaking, but that's my experience. I developed anxiety, and I could not be around large crowds because they reminded me of the funerals of my loved ones. I could no longer live in my home because I had the constant memories of Princeton sliding across the kitchen floor, crashing into the fridge, getting up laughing and running off and doing it all over again. And my house was quiet. It was hurtful. I had to move in with my best friend. I felt like a burden. I felt like nobody would ever love me again, and nobody wanted to be around me. So what did I do? I got back into faking my life, and I got back into busy mode. So again, people are saying, Michelle's fine. She doesn't need me. So again, I'm not getting the support that I truly needed. I started saying yes to everything and overcommitting myself. So I was moving on the outside, but I was crashing on the inside. Thankfully, though, there were a few people that saw past this facade, and they said, Michelle, you have got to stop this long-term madness. So when I took the time to think about what this meant, I realized that I had to get unstuck from my grief and make myself and Caden more of a priority for our wellness. So with the constant pressure of love from my sister Chanel, my friends Kayla, Priscilla, Katia, and Tiffany, and my now fiance Angelo, I was able to realize that I had life, an important life, my life that I had to live, but I had to start to change and do things for the betterment and improvement of that life. So I started saying no to a lot of people, letting go of a lot of my commitments so I can make myself and Caden a priority again. So we've all heard the saying that when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, right? So I did exactly that. As sour as my lemon experiences were, I realized that I had to allow love and support in my life so I can start on the road to recovery and healing. I see my lemonade as the hurtful experiences of my past, what I still may face in the future, but also the sweetness that life still has to offer. I do a whole lot more traveling now. I love to put stamps on my passport. I'm creating new experiences with my loved ones, and of course, raising Caden, and he is turning out to be one awesome 9-year-old in spite of his losses. So I empower you, when you go through your own tragedy, don't let life sour you so much that you get stuck in the negative thinking of who you are and what your life is going to be. I encourage you to do 3 things. 1, don't avoid the love and support that is around you, kind of like I did. You will need that to get you to a place where you can love yourself again. 2, do not get bogged down in the things that do not matter in the grander scheme of life. They only serve as distractions to your healing. And 3, remember that your lemonade, yes, will be the painful experiences given to you, but also the greatness of life that you purposefully add to the mix. So when you stir that sweet and sour concoction together, you'll be able to manage through your lemon experiences so much better. So go, grab your friends, grab your family, and go get unstuck and drink your lemonade. Thank you.